Good morning, interweb. Welcome back to the Artifexian podcast. In this month's episode, the local wildlife continues to wreck my buzz. A new combatant has entered the fray. We go back to Spencer O'Dowd's alt history setting to basically run the Artifexian greatest hits, banknotes, maps, flags, great crack. I finished, sorta, the new Ycairn map, Bill and I discuss. And in Ycairn proper, we have a bit of courtroom drama, which mirrors my own IRL courtroom drama. All that, plus lots more, in this month's episode. Okay, so welcome back, everyone. A couple of points. Hello. A couple of points of follow up on my end. Shock horror, we never do this. I mentioned in the last show, Bill, about my new Blackbird friend, Sean Og. Mm-hmm. A couple of points on this. I neglected to explain to the listeners why I called the bird Sean Og, and then proceeded to go off on a bit of a tangent about the wrestler John Cena. And in my head, I was like, oh, sure, everyone can make this connection. But obviously that's not the case. And even if you're an Irish speaker, the connection's rather tenuous, because by rights I should have called the bird Sean Bjug and not Sean Og. But the idea here is that John Cena... I
don't think that would have helped clarify the issue.
Well, it'd be better, I think. So Sean Og in Irish means like young John. Sean is John and Og is young, right? And John Cena, I can't believe I'm explaining this again. John Cena is a wrestler who's famous for the meme where it's like, you can't see me, right? Go Google it and look, check it out. And the idea behind me calling this blackbird Sean Og was because this blackbird would come and knocking, and still does come and knocking at my window every morning at dawn and just tries to beat the window down. And then anytime you round the corner to try and get a look at the blackbird and admonish him for his antisocial behaviour, he just goes, "Look, you can't see me," and flies off. So that's where John Cena, Sean Og came from. What I should have called the bird, like I said earlier, is Sean Bjug, like Little John, a little version of John Cena. But yeah, I just wanted to explain that because...
You mean like after the rapper?
After John Cena the rapper?
No, Little John the rapper.
Oh, Little John. That would have caused further confusion, actually. Yeah, maybe Sean Og was the way to go. But in any case, that's why this new blackbird nemesis of mine, I've called him Sean Og. In addition to that story, and having no relevance to world building or conlang or anything whatsoever, is that I have a new avian nemesis. A new avian nemesis has come on the scene. And I've also given this new avian menace another cutesy Irish name. And his name, or her name, I don't know the gender of this particular bird, is Ultán the Ulchabhán. Because for non-Irish speakers, Ultán is just an Irish name. Ulchabhán is the Irish word for owl. And we now have an owl that proceeds to go hoo, 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 every night for hours on end. And
is that not a cuckoo?
No, I can't do an owl sound. It's definitely not a cuckoo. Because one of the evenings, I was trying to sleep, right? And the captain was downstairs just doing captain stuff. And I came down and was like, do you hear that?
Battening down the hatches. Splicing ropes.
Precisely. I was like, do you hear that like incessant, repetitive noise that's going on? And she was like, no. And I was walking around the house like crazy, like putting my ear up to the fridge and being like, is it you, fridge? Making this like oh sort of sound. I was like, no. And there was like the dishwasher was like, is it you, dishwasher? I went and checked the central heating system and I was like, what the hell is it? And then eventually I realized it was coming from outdoors. And then I brought the captain out just to be all like, I'm not crazy here, trust me. And she was like, oh yeah, I hear it now, that's an owl. And I'm like, oh, the birds. So I can't go to sleep at night because Ultán the Ulchabhán is out, doing his nocturnal chorus. And then I can't get up early in the morning or I can't get enough sleep once asleep because Sean Og is there trying to batter down my window. And I just want all the birds to go away from my life, Bill. Really.
You could get like a fake hawk and put it on your chimney. Or like a fake eagle or something.
Yeah. Knowing my luck, that would inspire some sort of like avian congress. They all come and hang out with this great bird. It becomes
Or yeah. Another eagle comes to try and mate with your eagle and makes it itself a nuisance that way.
right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. We've really bad luck with birds this year. We had like 2 birds stuck in chimneys during the year because the sort of anti-bird mechanism on the chimney failed and birds kept flying down the chimney. And there was another really weird thing because all the cats in the house were going like ape. And I was like, what the hell is wrong with you, cat?
There was apes involved as well.
It's just animals crawling up the wazoo. But it was like the cats were going bananas, right? The cats were like losing their mind in the middle of the sitting room. Like, what is your problem? Why are you obsessed with the fireplace? And then, went to open it one time, and there's like not a raven, probably not a blackbird, nondescript blackbird, just in the stove. I was just like, why would the animals are just, lots of animal problems going on at the moment. So anyhow, thus is the chronicles of Sean Og and Ultán the Ulchabhán. I'll fill you in next month if more avian nonsense occurs.
Please do. I'm invested now.
Thanks, Phil. We'll make this a whole mythos. Okay, so actual real follow-up. That was actual follow-up. We mentioned on the last show. But a sort of real important follow-up, I guess, for want of a better word, is Spotify. Spotify emailed us during the week, folks. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. Spotify emailed us during the week, folks, or during the month, to be like, hey, we're removing some of your episodes for like copyright infringement on music. And they were like, in a real sort of mafiosa style, they were like, you have 24 hours to respond. If you don't, we will take the ultimate action against you. So I was in hospital at the time, so I was not responding to any emails or looking at emails. And they went ahead and deleted everything without our input. I've been in communication with them to try and be like, hey, can you please put this back up? There's no copyright infringement. The only music we ever use is my brother's jingles. No, not my brother's jingles, my jingles that I made for
jingles,
the... Yeah, we use that, and then we only ever use music that are sourced from like Kevin MacLeod and various free sound, public domain sound effects things. Like we don't use copyrighted music at all. So their AI just picked up erroneously. So if you see that, if you're listening on Spotify and you see that episode number X or whatever is missing, that's the problem. We're working to get it reinstated. I will use this opportunity to just do some more agitprop. If at all possible, for kind of the health of a free and open ecosystem, try not to listen to podcasts through big tech companies. Like the beauty about podcasts is that they're hosted on a person's website for the most part, and then podcast crawlers come along, crawl it, and just like give it to you. And there's no real platform there involved, kind of. So my advocacy is always, if you're listening to podcasts that don't have a strong visual component to them, just get a really good podcatcher, listen it on the podcatcher, because you don't run afoul of all of this big tech nonsense that occurs. For people on iOS, I would advocate Overcast. It's a great podcaster. But a great podcatcher, I suppose. But there's tons others as well. So that would be my little bit of advocacy there. Yeah, we won't get banned episodes. We'd have to ban them from our own website, which is unlikely. PSA done.
Cool.
Now, we have a whole bunch of follow-up to do with all of this New England stuff from the last episode.
Mm-hmm. From Spencer.
From Spencer. I've been talking lots. Do you want to give just a real quick recap on what that was, Bill, and then I'll take us through the new stuff.
So last episode we looked at a banknote that was submitted to us by Spencer, and we worked. It was from an alternate history project of theirs, and we worked out that it was from a sort of an alternate New England. that diverged at some point, the 1800s or earlier. And Spencer has since confirmed that and has sent us more details. What we established last time was that there were 3 languages spoken. It was mostly English, but with also French and Portuguese influences, and that the first prime minister of this area was an actual historical figure who was like a senator or a congressman or something in the 1850s or thereabouts. That's as much as we got.
I'll jump in at this point and just say a deep apologies to the Portuguese speakers who might be listening. It took us a long time in the last episode to establish that it was in fact Portuguese, and we were working on the assumption that it was Spanish for a large chunk of that recording, and I'm sure that must have been absolutely infuriating for Portuguese speakers. Yeah, and then I jumped in and made matters worse to be like, maybe it's Latin, and I could just see everyone be like, oh, they realize it's not Spanish, but they've turned down the wrong street here. So we got there in the end, but I apologies for that. Yes, that was basically, that's the TLDR of what happened though. Spencer wrote in with some clarifying points, some more details on the banknote. So Spencer says, Googling Charles Sumner, the aforementioned politician, is certainly not cheating. I was going to put a link in here if you didn't. So congrats, Bill, you are not a cheat. You shall not be banned by Spotify. The pine tree, we discussed about the pine tree and how that seemed to be a motif on the banknotes. Spencer goes on to say it's very important. It's a very important national, regional symbol of New England, both in this fictional world and in our own world. You can find it on the flags of Maine, Vermont, and on the flag of New England. TIL, there's a flag of New England. There you go. It being visually similar to the design of UK banknotes is not a coincidence. The year of this banknote is 2024. It would have been 2025, but I commissioned it back in 2024. Sure, makes sense. The point of divergence, because we speculated on this in the last show, from our timeline is earlier than the 19th century. Portuguese population came over in the 19th century, mostly from the Azores, just as in our timeline. The catch is that, like the French-speaking population from Canada that came during the same time, they mostly retained their language among their own community, while other immigrant groups over time adopted English. And they go on to say, I've sent another email with a whole bunch of other stuff, which I'll top out in a second. So yeah, I learned 2 things, that there's a flag of New England. I had no idea about that. I guess I'll try and find that and put links in the show notes for everyone. And then the other thing is I had absolutely no idea about there being sizable Portuguese immigration into New England over the 19th century. I had absolutely no idea about that. And also mostly from the Azores as another one that's really interesting. I need to read up on that. Do you have any background info on this at all, Bill?
No. I would have said there would have been a bit earlier, like in kind of the 1500s, the 1400s and 1500s. A lot of Portuguese were like whaling and found themselves in that kind of area, New England sort of area. But I didn't know about immigration that much later.
I was going to make a really silly dad joke about whaling and sad Portuguese people, but I'm just not going to do that.
I'm curious now.
No, I was just going to say, why were they all so sad? And then you'd be like, what do you mean? And I'm like, whaling. And then we'd all chuckle.
Oh. Yeah, see, that doesn't work for me.
No, it also doesn't work for me. That's why I said I wasn't going to do it. And in not doing it, I did it, which is always fun. But yes, anyway, that's some of the background lore of that setting, Spencer's setting. Now, Spencer then sent an additional email with kind of more detective work for us to do. I had so much fun the last episode trying to figure out what the hell was going on that I was like, let's do this again. So Spencer sent over a whole bunch of things in an effort to not, have 2 hours worth of detective work. I chose 2 things to maybe put to you, Bill, to see whether or not you could lead another detective investigation and figure out what the hell is going on. Up for it?
Sure.
Okay, so from this setting, from this alt New England setting, Spencer has this graphic, link in the description or the show notes and on screen. I think I'll put this on screen. It's not really in the right aspect ratio for the YouTube video, but I'll make it work. Any idea? This is the evolution of the Union Jack, right? With respect to this timeline. Any idea? Talk us through what you see, Bill, and can you speculate for me what the hell is going on?
Okay, so at the top here, earliest, we have the George's Cross and the St. Andrew's Saltaire combined to make the 1707 Union Jack, which so far that's the same as our timeline.
Mm-hmm.
The 1707 Acts of Union combining the crowns and the creation of Great Britain.
Mm-hmm.
Then adding the St. Patrick's Saltaire in 1801 to create the United Kingdom. Again, same as our timeline. That's the actual still the current modern version of the Union Jack. Now from here it diverges. In 1820, there's an addition of a flag which is sort of yellow on top. It was bisected, yellow on top, white on bottom, and in the center there's a shield with a rearing white horse on it and a crown above. Now, I don't recognize this. My first guess was Lithuania, because I think there's a white horse on a red background is a Lithuanian symbol, but it's probably lots of other places as well.
Wow.
My next thought is that it's somewhere in Germany, because at this point the kings of England were also the kings of Hanover.
Yeah.
So that would be my guess there. I'm going to Google Hanover, white horse, red background, see if that gets us anything.
So I while you're Googling, I also don't recognize this this flag. My immediate thought was that maybe it had something to do with the Vatican, purely because of the yellow and white. But then I was like, I don't understand why that would be a huge thing. Particularly given the religious persuasions of both entities at the time. But then I began thinking about, oh, maybe this is some Holy Roman Empire relic, state, region, that sort of thing. You said, did you say Hanover? The flag of Hanover?
Hanover, yeah. They were the kings of Hanover. Until Victoria, because Victoria could inherit the British crown, but she couldn't inherit the German crown.
So I wasn't able to remember that it was Hanover, but I got thinking something similar. Like, I know that there's a link between like the British royal family and continental Europe, and I was like, I wonder if this is a flag of the region where that link kind of emanates from.
So yeah, that was I've just found it here. That was the flag of the Kingdom of Hanover. From 1837 to 1866.
Okay, so what are we saying is going on in the timeline here?
So I guess the United Kingdom unified the crown of the UK and Hanover, I guess.
So that would put the sitting monarch at the time officially in charge of what's the maximum extent of that territory? Because my knowledge of like monarchy territories isn't great.
So it would be the British Empire at the time. So that would be...
Sure. 25% of the world.
Big chunks of the Caribbean, some of Africa, a lot of India, as well as these islands of ours, and now a chunk of Germany as well.
Sorry. These islands of ours, the Greater Scilly Isles.
Yeah. Las Malvinas del Norte.
Sure. So, and are we speculating then that? I wonder, are we speculating then that Germany in its modern incarnation is not a thing in this setting, and that it's just Great Britain? Do you know what I mean?
Germany in a modern incarnation doesn't exist in 1820 anyway.
Okay, sorry. Rephrase. Because this timeline goes up to the common the common date. What am I talking about? The current date. We would expect a Germany in its modern incarnation to come along. I wonder if this merger here is indicative of the fact that maybe it doesn't. And if you were to look at a map of Europe in Spencer's timeline, you would just have the region where Germany exists and Britain be painted in the same color. I wonder if that's where this goes.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so we have Hanover plus England. Did anyone
Plus the United Kingdom, yeah.
plus the United Kingdom? Now, sorry, I don't know if anyone. Do you know what Neil.fun is, Bill?
Pardon me?
Neil.fun.
I do not.
Okay. Do you know the password game? It went viral a while ago.
I do not.
Oh my god. Oh my god, Bill, you've so much to learn. Okay. Well, I would encourage you to go to neil.fun, the website. It has a whole bunch of fun like browser games that don't take themselves too seriously. One of these games
looking vaguely familiar, yeah.
Yeah, one of these games is called Infinite Craft, and it's basically where you take two words and you just mash them together, and the computer makes a new word. Do you know? So you got like fire and water, it makes steam, and then you go like steam plus fire, and you might get like an engine, something like that. This feels, for anyone who's played Infinite Craft, this feels very much like Infinite Craft. You have like this saltire plus this saltire equals that thing, and then this plus this equals this thing, and it's very on brand for the current kind of like zeitgeist or Neil.fun. So anyway, go check out Neil.fun, guys. Right, okay. Next flag.
Okay, then we move to 1820. Mm-hmm. So that was 1820 was that one, the edition of Hanover.
Correct.
Then in 1822, we're adding a flag. It's trisected horizontally. The top bar is orange. The middle is white, and the bottom is blue. Mm-hmm. I feel like this is the Netherlands or something.
That's what I would suspect, yeah.
I was also thinking something South African, but I think this is a little bit early for like the Orange Free State or anything, like any of those like countries, European or originated countries in South Africa. So I'd guess this is the Netherlands. And then so we have something that looks like the Union Jack, but with also an orange border on the inside of the white around the George's Cross. It's rather busy.
It's getting very busy. I would argue that even the addition of Hanover, it starts to in 1820 start to get busy, and now we put an additional color in there. And like I know we'll talk about this in a second when it comes to your map of Ycairn, Bill. I know in the past I've been an advocate of kind of like sleek design and readability and legibility and things like that. I understand that real world flags are very often illegible, but this is very illegible. The difference between orange and yellow on this is basically nothing. Now that could be a design choice. Like Spencer could have went away and be like, the world is full of a load of really hard to read flags. Let me make another one, which it's all good, but it gets difficult. So yeah, plus Hanover, plus we're saying the Netherlands, and now we're going plus something else in 1822.
Well, no, in 1822 we're subtracting, I think, the Netherlands again.
You're right.
A slightly different version of it that's red on top and a darker blue on bottom, which is more like the modern flag of the Netherlands, if I am not mistaken. Yeah, that's pretty much the modern flag. I
wonder if the 1820 edition of the gold or orange, white, and blue flag is like a state in the Netherlands, and then maybe the Netherlands proper forms, and then they go, actually, you made this agreement with this state. That's not happening. We're taking that state back, and we're out. That's, I would imagine, what's occurring here. Okay, that's 1822.
That would
now
make sense.
Our next one, we got more subtraction.
In 1911, it looks like Saxony leaves again, or Hanover leaves again, rather. Mm-hmm. We have the subtraction of a flag that's a thin yellow band on the hoist, then a large white area with a white horse and a red shield in the middle, and then a thin red band on the fly.
Yeah, what's interesting here is that, so this just seems like the British Empire is falling apart and bits are leaving. But what's cool about this, if I'm not mistaken, even though Hanover or whatever has left, the flag has remained. No, the flag has not remained. Sorry, never mind. Scratch all that. I was about to say the flag has remained, which I thought was kind of fun because it'd be like the British being like, I know you're gone, but like to us, you're not gone. We retain your symbology, and that forever annoys the region of Hanover or whatever. But sorry, no, I read the flow chart wrong. We do in fact lose the gold that comes with Hanover, and we go back to what is a traditional sort of Union Jack. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then our final subtraction.
Our final subtraction is in 1916. We've a similar designed flag to the above, a green band on the hoist, on the hoist, a large white area in the middle, and an orange band on the fly. But in the white area on the middle, there's a green shield bearing a golden harp.
That seems vaguely familiar.
It does seem rather familiar. Makes me feel at home.
Although I don't know this flag though. What is this flag?
I guess this is just an alternate flag of Ireland.
Oh, okay, like flag of United Ireland. I'm assuming.
I guess so.
Because in 1937, then the Union Jack loses the Northern Irish component to it. Mm-hmm. So one would assume then that Ireland is unified, and we're all like, "Laters, Britain." So we're left with the Union Jack basically sans the Northern Irish part. Can I ask
we have messed up the dates that we're talking about here a little bit.
Yeah, because it's the way the flowchart's laid out. Doesn't matter. It's on screen.
Sorry.
It's on
screen.
Yeah. Actually, no. Let me take that back again. It's not the way the flowchart's laid out. It's the way our brains have interpreted the flowchart. Nothing wrong with the flowchart. We're just reading on the fly and making mistakes.
We got it right at the start, and then around 1820 we got tangled up.
Yeah. Exactly. Because my brain expects that like each line is an equation, do you know?
Yeah.
Whereas the flowchart is like the result of the equation is on the next line down. So it's fine. It's grand. People could make...
I'm just going to summarize it real quickly.
Okay, go for it.
Adding Hanover in 1820, adding the Netherlands or whatever in 1822, losing the Netherlands in 1911, losing Hanover in 1916, losing Ireland in 1937.
Yeah. Because and the 1916, it particularly trips me because, again, that's a relevant date. And so you're like, oh, of course they'd leave in 1916, but it's actually later. Yeah. 2 questions on flag design here. Do we like the Union Jack as a flag? Do you like it?
Setting aside all real world concerns and associations and moral reservations.
Correct.
I think it's on the busier side, but it's visually striking. I think it kind of it works, and it's easily adaptable to design contexts and stuff. I think it's effective.
I think it is very close to being a very good flag, and I agree with you on everything. I just can't, for the life of me, get over the mismatched. What do you call it? St. Patrick's saltire? Is it? Yeah. The basically
the offset.
The offset in the incorporation of the Northern Irish flags. I think I understand why this happens, because I learned ages ago that in typography, it can be very useful. Like if you make like an X character, like you're making a font, you make X, right? I believe in particularly bold characters, if you just have the crossbars of the X be perfectly, like they're 2 bars, it looks kind of wonky and weird and in small. So what you often have to do is you often have to offset the legs of the X's very slightly to make it look legit in type text. It's the same reason why O's, letters like O are bigger than surrounding letters. There's a famous example, I think it's in the Google logo, where the O is bigger than the G if you look at it, but it needs to be like that. Otherwise, if O was the same as the capital G, the O would look really small. So you just need to do all this kind of visual trickery. Maybe that's what they were going for here, but like the effect is not sold to me. I still see a bunch of offset bars that just need a bit of alignment, and I don't really understand why they wouldn't just align them. Like I can't see why that would look worse at all.
Yeah, I don't really know either.
Yeah,
I don't notice it specifically, really. I mean, I see that it's there when I look, but just like as a passing glance, I don't notice the offset.
Oh no, it sticks out to me every time. Every time I look, I'm like, why, what? No, because I notice there's a lot. If you just focus on the red cross, it's hard to kind of see. But when you focus on the negative space, the white space, it's very easy to see that the white space is significantly thicker on one side than the other. And then your eye goes, wait a minute, but it's thicker on different sides in each of the quadrants, and then I lose my mind. So it's so close to being.
But at least it's rotationally symmetric.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying it's terrible. Like I said, it's like 99% there. Like I really do like, with all the reservations aside, I really do like the Union Jack, and also it's got a cool name. Come on, Union Jack, that's great.
Well, that's some people do quibble about that name, don't they? It's like the flag of the Union, and the Union Jack is specifically like the naval usage of it or something. But that's a real like pedantic thing, and we wouldn't be pedants or nerds and that sort of.
That's the way it's colloquially used. Therefore, it's its name. You know, that's what I think. I will say.
Hold on. That assertion was dismissed by the Flag Institute in 2013. Okay, fair enough. Union Jack is legit according to the Flag Institute.
Breaking news.
Breaking 12-year late news.
So I will say, extended flag. It's been so long since we've done flag corner. This is great. I will say the Spencer's 1937 Union Jack, very clean. Really like that. Yeah, It's great. I love flag talk, man. Thanks for doing that for me.
Oh, yeah.
And then final thing.
Flag guys here. We're pro-flag.
We are pro-flag, and we haven't done flag in so long. Final thing, just how long have we been? Well, we've been going for an okay amount of time. On Spencer's thing, is again they sent a whole bunch of images, but you know we're 40 minutes into recording. If we were to look at all of them, I might have aged a year by the time we got through everything. But I just wanted to include, I'll put it in the show notes and in the video, just a really cool electoral map for this. I'm going to call it a country. I'm not sure how we're defining this, but the political entity, I suppose, maybe. This is the 1851 sort of election of, I think it's a presidential election, if I'm not mistaken, for
1857?
I see 1851.
Oh.
Are you clicking on the link in the show notes?
Yeah, sorry, there was two maps. Gotcha.
There is. See, again, there's multiple maps, so I'm just selecting this one, just to give people a flavour of what's going on. So it's the 1851 map, and I included it as well purely because the first one I opened that had Charles Sumner in it, which we talked about before, actual real life dude. And I know from correspondence that Spencer is, I'm going to get this wrong. Sorry, Spencer, has studied political science or worked in the sort of political science sphere. So this sort of totting up of numbers and modelling of political systems is kind of their bag, and they've really gone whole hog to town with it, and I just think it looks great. And it's got the if you look at the map, it's got like the universities are very much represented. So this strikes me, this might seem really alien to people who aren't who don't come from countries who do this, but like in Ireland, our senators, actually you might need to correct me on this, Bill, is it still the case that you're nominated by a university to be a senator?
That's one of the ways, yeah.
That's one of the ways, yeah. So I suspect that tradition in Ireland, pure speculation on my part, probably came out of British legal doctrine or something, and I suspect maybe that has been imported over into this New England situation where the president is nominated by some of the various colleges. I think anyways, or at least that's my immediate reaction having first seen this map.
Yeah, I'd imagine. So, like, it looks like there's an electoral college kind of situation, and that the various regions have assigned votes to the presidential candidates. But the universities also have
some votes in there as well.
Yeah.
Do you know the motivation for this university system? Is it purely classist?
I think it's intended to be sort of meritocratic, that like, those with expertise can have a say on matters of expertise, because the senators are assigned to like in Ireland, senators are assigned to panels to do with specific things. So you might be on like the Labour panel, and you'll be kind of suggested as someone who has an expertise in an area. That's the thinking behind it, as far as I understand.
That makes a degree of sense. To be honest with you, I never really understood the system too much. But yeah, because it's not something we kind of come in contact with and think about that often. Not certainly not as much as we think about, like, votes for the EU or voting for the government and all that sort of jazz. But yeah, so this looks great. This looks super good. Congratulations, Spencer. This is awesome. Thank you for two of the things we love on this show: talking banknotes and maps, and you've done it all in your setting, and I love it. Oh, I have a final thing before we can wrap up this segment. A final thing.
I've got something as well, but okay.
Oh no, go on, you go. I was talking lots. You tell me.
So do you notice anything about the map, Edgar?
Oh dear. Okay, it's a map. It's got pretty colors. No, do I notice anything? Okay, if it's going to be something like, do you notice these people? I'm not going to be able to.
It's not about the people.
Not about the people. Okay. Down the bottom, we have a timeline.
It's not about the timeline. It's about the map. It's about the geographical information.
It's about the geographical information. Because sure. I mean, I guess maybe this goes a little bit beyond what I would call New England.
Yeah.
Is that the thing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, so, I mean, is that revolutionary? It's just like, yeah, like as in the Genesis is the New England thing, and they've just expanded a little bit.
Not a little bit, massively. So, like 4 states or provinces or whatever of Canada are part of this.
Yeah. I mean, forgive me if I'm wrong here, but do those provinces of Canada? God, I'm going to offend every American and every Canadian here. Do they not share a lot of cultural similarity to the New England region? Maybe not. No.
Possibly, I don't know. But just like the New England in normal usage refers to that bit of the United States.
Yeah.
Whereas here we've got New Brunswick and Prince Edward Island and Nova Scotia and Newfoundland and Labrador. So there's something that suggests something quite different in the old history, like a fairly major divergence. Like maybe Canada is a lot more globally French than the rest of it. Canada exists in a very different form for pretty much the entire Anglophone Atlantic states of Canada to be part of this other country.
Maybe.
Now, what about Saint-Pierre and Miquelon? Is that visible here?
I don't know what that is.
So the island of Newfoundland, there's a little island off the south of it that is part of, I think it's actually part of France. I think it's like a département of the Republic of France. Because you know how like one of my favorite geography facts is that France shares a border with Brazil.
Yeah. With French Guiana, isn't it? French Guiana?
But French Guiana is it's not a separate country. It is just part of France.
It is quite literally just France. Yeah.
It's hard to tell here, but it looks like Saint-Pierre-Miquelon isn't coloured with the same colours as the rest of Newfoundland, so it looks like that might still be French.
Do you know what my fun geography fact that I like to wheel out a lot is?
Go on.
Japan lies to the north, to the east, to the south, and to the west of South Korea.
Does it lie to the west of it?
It does.
Oh.
Yeah. So
because of Okinawa and look at all this. Yeah,
it extends way further down and to the left, to the west, and that people think, and I've blown a few minds with that one.
It's practically Taiwan.
It's practically Taiwan. Don't tell China. Then I get ideas. And then the other one is it's kind of, I don't really have a set fact, but rather a kind of collection of facts. South America is a lot farther east than people think. So, choose an American city and be like, this American city, like choose a city near the east coast of America and then point out that it's further west than somewhere in Peru. And people's minds are like, what? Because everyone thinks, and I think of it like this as well. Like I have to
straight up and down.
Straight up and down, but it's absolutely not straight up and down. Like it's really, really isn't. which is fun as well. Anywho, so we have final note on this. We haven't had this is like old school Artifexian where our episodes were like 3 hours long and follow up was like 2 hours of that. This is like that, which is just harkens back. I want to shout out Shonuk Dove. That on the YouTube live chat, Shonuk is the Irish word fox, though dove is the Irish word for black, so black fox. On the YouTube live chat, who was like, there actually is or was New England banknotes IRL, and they I did some googling. I believe this was the ones because you can't leave links in the live chat, so all the errors are my own, as they say, on this one, and. Links in the show notes. This is the Bank of New England at Goodspeed's Landing. Was a bank in Connecticut that operated from 1853 to 1865. And apparently, just to summarize some of the comments here in this website, apparently the US government or the Federal Reserve or whatever the hell wasn't printing enough money. And so it was on banks and private institutions to do so. So, in stepped these boyos, and you got a New England, in this instance, a New England $2 bill, which I was like, I learned something new as well. I didn't realize that was a thing. Cool. Yeah. So shout out Shonuk Dove, and links in the description to all these things. Okay. Money, flag, corner, done.
Nice.
All right, final thing before we get into a bit of world building is the new map of Ycairn. We have a new map of Ycairn. We talked about it in the last show. I've been photoshopping away
now.
Almost continuously since that show in an effort to get this done. And on your screens now, folks, is going to be where we left it the last time Bill and I talked. And then now is going to be what I hope will be the final map, but as always, Bill, if you have corrections, you can throw it in there. Thoughts?
Okay, let me just have a look over it here now. Yeah. I dig this.
Good. Positive.
Yeah.
How was that compass rose that we talked about? Have I orientated that?
That's looking good. That's looking good. As long as you're happy with doing that.
I'm more than happy now.
Land and surrounding environment. Nice. Could I make a small suggestion?
Yes. I would like to, right? I would like to, as always, be like, something may seem trivial to you, but might be incredibly difficult on my part. So if it's incredibly difficult, I reserve the right to veto, but I will endeavor to give you what you want.
Can the cities of the spires be in some way distinguished from the others?
Dead easy. I was half thinking about putting an actual spire marking.
Yeah.
The only reason I didn't do that is because I don't know. I was going to put a spire like the Dublin Spire. I'll links in the show notes for people. It's a monument in Dublin. I was just going to do that, like a needle sort of thing. But maybe you have a different image of what they should be. Like, do they look more like that Toronto Tower with a bulge on the top or whatever? How photorealistic do you want to go? Is it purely abstract, etc.? So give me some info and I'll be more than happy to do that.
Okay. Yeah, I think just like how would you say? Like something just fairly abstract, but within the visual language of the time will suffice.
So a simple triangle type shape, pointy.
Yeah, like a narrow spike.
Yeah. In black, I assume.
Yeah, black.
Okay. Remind me. I don't know if I said this. Oh no, I did say it. This is all on screen now, folks. Just remind me real fast. The 5 spire cities are Jikaf, Mirsphere, Otvev, Vilv, and Lansk. Yes. Okay. Great. Cool. And everything else is they're just like Ebwar, Henna, Atien. They're just places. It's fine. We don't need to worry about those.
They're just other cultures. Yeah.
Okay. Great. Yeah. Oh, and actually, I meant to ask you a question about this. Mm-hmm. So, a couple of people, I can't remember names, so I'm sorry, folks. A couple of people were asking about the odd border arrangement around Vilv. Again, on screen. This is a little bit right of center, a sort of midway down the map, the eastern point of the sort of southern office triangle region, if you will. There's a city, Vilv, and Vilv seems to be a little bit of a remove from this little lake, and the border seems to do a bit of a scoochy thing out to Vilv, which some people were kind of like, that seems like a little bit odd. I don't personally see it as odd because borders do kind of weird things all the time, and I don't think it's that weird, but I thought I'd bring it up to you just to be like, this is definitely a thing, and it wasn't just a mistake that got canonized a couple of years ago.
I would have to consult my original sketches. It's definitely there in the previous version of the map.
It is, yeah.
What I'd imagine is happening there is that's an accommodation to make Vilv be in the southern office. Because remember, these borders are just for like internal use of the Tamar company.
Sure.
They're not like countries or anything. It's just, these are trade regions. So I'd imagine that's just some kind of thing to make Vilv and the cities around it be part of the southern office.
That is exactly what I was thinking.
The area around the city, rather.
It's like the equivalent of all those panhandles we see in modern borders.
Yeah.
Like, I believe that's wrong. Angola? Does Angola have a big dirty panhandle? I believe it does.
It stretches to the east, like a narrow band to the east, I think, yeah.
And that's usually done for some sort of resource access to, rivers to get to the sea, some sort of thing like that. So I saw that and was like, yeah, that makes sense to me that they would just kind of do a little scooch, just to include Vilv in that, So if you're okay with that, I mean, like, I'm okay with that.
Totally fine. Totally fine.
I think that's okay.
I wonder if Vilv is actually on the lake, though.
See, that's another thing. It strikes me that
and Lansk should definitely be on the river, because we've got a map of Lansk which shows that it straddles a river.
Okay. In my defense, the original map did not have that.
Totally. Yeah.
But I can scooch those down. That's trivial to do. So we'll stick those on the river, and we'll stick. If I just stick, you don't really care exactly where Vilv is on the lake, as long as it's on the lake and in the southern office, correct?
Well, it should be on the eastern border, yeah,
yes.
the eastern shore, yeah.
Yeah, take where it is now and just draw the straightest line distance to the lake. Put it there.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. And then the same thing with Lansk, if I just lower that, just move it south.
Yep.
And we're good. Okay, cool. I will remember to do that. YouTube live chat, if you're listening right now, or if you're watching along with us in the premiere, chances are I'm actually in Photoshop right now doing this as we listen. Cool. Is there anything else in there that you dislike, that you think is particularly good, that you want changed?
Where it says map of the Avesk heartland and surrounding environs, maybe it should say something like showing trade areas of the Tamar Trading Company.
Jesus, Matt, you and your words. Okay. I can do that. My argument against that is A, it's a lot of words, and B, surely it's self-evident, no? Like, if this is used by the Tamar Trading Company, do they need to write to be used by the Tamar? It's like,
if it's used by the Tamar Trading Company, they need to say that it's the Avesk heartland and surrounding environs.
Well, I mean, maps usually have a title. Like, I guess the analogy I'm trying to think of is that, like, if you've a sort of a road map of Ireland, right? It'll be labelled Map of Ireland, but it's not going to say to be used by Irish motorists to traverse the country of Ireland.
I didn't say that it was to have instructions on it. I was saying it is to say what the information on the map is. Sure.
Okay. Do you want to do you want to give me that again? Can you state that again?
Something to the effect of showing trade areas of the Tamar Trading Company.
Trade areas of the Tamar Trading Company. Cool. And then in that lower left.
Yeah.
Okay. I can make that happen. God bless you in the words.
The weathering on it seems a little bit kind of blocky or kind of straight liney in places.
Yeah. Sorry, that's not weathering. That's crumpled paper.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That wasn't clear to me.
Wow, that's man. It is crazy, right? That you when you're designing a
What a
thing.
dumbass
Sorry,
you are,
that sounds so obnoxious. Like I'm a designer, like I'm an artist, like yes. But like when you're making a thing, you the creator like would be like, this is so incredibly obvious, and then you hand it to someone, and then they're like, no, the thing you thought that wasn't obvious, that is actually obvious, and this obvious thing is completely unobvious. Wow. Okay, that's wild. Okay.
Because
Interesting.
I don't see it like linking up to to angles on the side of the page, like on the edges.
Yeah, that is largely because I posted this in Discord, but I am quickly getting to the limits of my Photoshop ability. That's because it's a random kind of height map that you use to displace the sort of the contents of the artwork, and getting that to all line up, given that it's random, is something that I'm sure is doable. I just don't have the ability to be able to do that. Do I take it that you want it gone? Because I would advocate against that, because sans that crinkling, it doesn't look. I don't think it looks half as good, because I've tried it.
See, the thing about it as well is it hasn't changed the geometry of like the compass rose at all.
It has, yeah.
Has it?
It's been, I tried to be subtle about it, but if you zoom in and you look at the north section of the compass rose, it's deformed along the crinkle. Now it's very subtle. I tried to be subtle.
Okay.
But yeah, like we did this on stream actually. You should be able to go watch that, patrons. It's on the Artifexian podcast Patreon. Yeah, you take that crinkle and you make that a sort of bump map, and then you just warp and distort everything around that. I could attempt to do that more. The only thing is, the more you do it, the more artifacting gets brought into the situation, and you begin to lose a little bit of clarity, a little bit, you know. Wait, let me rephrase. What is it you want? Do you want the crinkles gone?
I mean, I'd like to see it without the crinkles.
Okay.
I'd like to see it without the crinkles.
Sure.
And this, I'd imagine this is probably a fairly minor thing as well. If there was also a version that doesn't have the table background, that just has like a transparent background or something.
Absolutely. Go to Ycairn map number 2 in the drive. Links in the show notes, everyone. There is one without the table.
Well, that was easy.
I actually just did that on the fly there, Bill. I went into Photoshop. Sorry. Okay, I do actually need to say, for full disclosure, I quite like the background. It makes it feel a little bit more in universe, like it's sitting on someone's table.
Full just for different options and different.
Sure, absolutely. And also, just for your own usage, I've left the entire Photoshop file in the drive as well. So if you, if you deem me an unworthy friend, but would like to do something else with someone else with this, it's all there. You can use the assets as you will. You know what I mean? But hold on. My main point.
Can Krita open Photoshop? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know. Okay. I don't know about that. But what was the thing I was going to say? Yes, full disclosure, and everyone's going to hate me for this, and rightly so. That wood texture in the back, that's AI generated in Photoshop. I do not have the skills to create a wood texture from nothing, and I couldn't find something that was decent and in the public domain. So that is a YouTube generated, Photoshop generated AI background, which again, there's ethics around this, but purely judging aesthetically, I don't think it screams AI generated. So I don't know how you feel about that.
I don't know enough about what those procedures within Photoshop are, whether they are like LLM type planet cooking ones.
I mean, I think most of this generated stuff is LLM stuff. I guess the ethical thing is, well, we can get into a whole big discussion about the ethics of this, but ultimately, to be honest with you, it's all pretty unethical, because there's a lot of companies at the moment being all like, oh no, we're doing it the right way. We've purchased our data. We're not just scraping it off the internet. But then the immediate thing is like, well, who do you purchase from? And likely it's going to be from a company that scraped it off the internet. So ultimately it all just is, based on, publicly available content.
Scam all the way down.
It is a little bit, yeah. So that's why I didn't want to. I wanted to bring that up with you, just to be like, if you don't feel comfortable with this, that's entirely fine. We have Ycairn map number 2. Again, show notes, everyone, without any AI jiggery pokery in there at all. And I can use whichever one at will that you so desire. But I'll make the edits you say in both versions. We probably won't do another round of discussing the map on air. I'll do it off air with you, and then this will be the map going forward once we get that all finalized. Yeah.
Sure.
So for this episode, could I maybe use the for the story you're about to tell? Can I use the one without the table just as the backdrop? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. If you like.
Great.
Yeah.
Speaking of stories you're about to tell, we can't move on to that. There's actually more to talk about. Oh my god, there's so much to talk about. Damn it. Okay, real fast. Oh my god, we're an hour in, man. We're an hour in. This is ridiculous. Okay, real fast. U/Rec Jensen on the subject of this map says that they like that the map is getting some attention. They found the one hard to parse, text is too light, not much sense of scale, etc. I just want to flag this comment just to highlight that real world things, particularly of this sort of era that we're going for, are also very hard to read. See, like the United States Constitution, for example. If you want a lesson in how not to do kind of, legible handwriting, go check out the United States Constitution. There's loads of examples of extremely difficult to parse maps out there, and it is worth bearing in mind. Do you, what's the sort of like aesthetic situation in your setting? Not everything is going to conform to our modern ideas about like minimalist design, transparency, accessibility, etc. Just that comment reminded me of that, and I think that's an important design feature to think about, and one I often forget to think about. And I just have a habit of, particularly when it comes to like flags, making nice, slick, modern flags, when most of the time flags are not like that. Flags are actually a disaster, and your world should kind of reflect that, I think. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, we can't judge it by modern aesthetic standards of design. So it's okay if things are a little bit dense or a little bit busy.
Yeah, and also
not ridiculous, but yeah, like I'm doing a somewhat historically inspired setting here, and in those eras, maps were busy and had lots of like conflicting text directions, and yeah, so I'm not too concerned about it trying to conform to a modern sleek look.
And it is also worth bearing in mind that modern like atlases, for example, are equally as dense and hard to read. Like we forget about that, but part of the charm of them, I love it. It's just like, how much text can we put on this? Let's go, boys! It's great. The other thing is, if you're presenting it like we're attempting to do here, is a bit of an in-universe artifact. You can expect it to get used, to get crumpled up, to have stains on it, to have smudges in the ink. There's a whole lot of things that will detract
is there
from.
Like a little kind of a coffee ring up in the corner?
There is. Yeah, there's 2 coffee rings up in the corner.
Love
that. Yeah, cheers. I tried to like do something that looked a little bit more beer-like, but then I realized, what does a beer stain look like, and how does it differ from a coffee stain? It doesn't really.
Who knows?
But I don't see your boyos. Or maybe I do see your boyos sitting aboard their ships drinking coffee. No, they're drinking port, like the English aristocracy. A small little thing of port. That's what they're doing in my head. So that was U/Rec Jensen. U/hallucinated lotto numbers. God, I hope they came out clutch for you. Was made a comment about the compass rose. And they say, my main issue with the compass rose is that I think it's a little too big. Maybe shrink it by 10%, which I did do a little bit of. But this again reminded me, the reason why I'm bringing it up is another sort of like, could there be an in-universe justification for something like this? You can just have big compass roses. That's not abnormal at all. But B, perhaps, and I talked about this a little bit on the streams when we were doing this together, perhaps there is a standardized stamp that they use for the compass rose. Like it's not individually hand drawn on each of the things. Maybe they have a sort of stamp. And if so, maybe there's one size. And if you have a giant map or if you have a small map, it doesn't matter. It all gets the same stamp. So there's loads of ways in which you could be like, you could justify a large design component, or conversely, a very small design component just sitting on the map. Yeah, that's just something I thought of. But I did shrink the compass rose a little bit, and I think both versions are fine. You don't want to go too small because you don't want to lose a lot of the detail in the sun. But again, obviously going too big is it can get a bit cartoonish. But yeah, good catch from hallucinated lotto numbers. Yeah. And then finally, and then I will let you start doing some world building, is we have Moonlight on the Discord. Shout out to the Discord, links in the description, show notes. They left a really cool little, like, I guess, slideshow document about kind of, I guess to summarize would be like historical practices, Ori compass roses and how they worked and what they did, and it is very cool. It is very, very cool and definitely worth checking out. I'll leave links to this in the show notes. If you're looking at doing this, you should check it out. And if you go through this, just to circle back to another point we made, midway through the document, there's this really cool map where the majority of the text exists around the outside of a coastline. And the compass rose is kind of sort of just a radiating sort of star from the center of the map. This is the Bartolomeo dagli Sonetti chart of the Adriatic Sea, 1945. Oh, this plays to my point.
Inside the coastline.
It's the inside. This plays to the point I was about to make about readability. Old maps, sometimes not very readable. And that, like, this is so unreadable that I interpreted it as being text on the outside of a landmass, but in fact it is text on the inside of a landmass, and the text is small, lots of kind of conflicting colors, hard to read, but this is a thing that exists, so we should emulate it in our worlds to a degree. Okay, anything to add on that? If not, I'm going to let my voice take a little bit of a breather and you could do some world building.
No, nothing to add. Just it's a cool little document worth having a look at.
For sure. So shout out Moonlight on Discord. Okay.
And Josep Fericic for making it.
Oh, yes, that's right. Their names and credentials, I believe, are in the document. So go check it out. I have no idea where this comes from, but I'm glad Moonlight dug this up. Okay. Shall we to Ycairn?
Let's. Okay, so I've written something, as I do for every episode, but we do have a little bit of a problem in what I've written this week. Not a problem, but not a problem as in this is bad, but just a thing we need to solve or make a decision on.
Never has a shorter piece of prose produced this much like prior discussion. Hilarious. No, I agree. You definitely have a problem. Do you want to talk to the folks about what this problem is?
In this document that I will be reading for you this episode, I refer to a lot of people exclusively by initials. But Aveski is not English.
No.
And it does not have the same sounds as English and the same kind of linguistic concepts as English. And I don't know how to refer to all of the people by their initials when some of the initials are specifying that the letter is palatalized or is a sound we don't have in English, so the letter doesn't have a name. Or it's a sound like je, which isn't a letter in the English language. So let's solve this together, Edgar.
So my immediate thing is that we solve it by just stating the initials. So just to peel back the curtain, what you're about to hear in a second, folks, you'll hear a line that goes, matter of, and then the initials PY for a first name, and then M for the second name, and then Orlab district. So matter of PYM Orlab district. So that's someone's name beginning with P and someone's second name beginning with M, right? In Abeski, these letters will almost certainly have their own names.
Okay.
Which we don't have. So I would suggest that you would just read this as matter of PM Orlab district and just forget the Y and do the same thing with S. So matter of SA. Oh, that can get us banned on YouTube.
I'll say Esh.
You can. I would just say S. I would just say it's fine. That was a joke. Like YouTube won't actually ban us for that. If they do, they're just beyond Draconian. And the same thing with J. Matter of Z. Don't worry about it. We can all. Okay. I think we can all see what's going on. It would be really weird if you were like matter of P M, matter of J B.
And we can revisit that at some stage when we have like letter names in months and years down the line when we've developed.
Sorry.
Why are you sorry? Because it's a massive that wasn't a dig. It's a massive undertaking.
Well, I think people more proficient than I can churn these things out a lot quicker. But I've never actually thought about naming actual letters. It's not a thing I've ever thought about at all. We'll put that in the back burner and see if that crops up again. I'll address it. But if it's just a one-off, I don't know if I'm going to worry about it too much. But for now, just stick with the English initials.
Okay. Grand.
Okay. What have we got this month, Bill?
We've got a document where a load of people are referred to by their initial. No. Today we're going to hear some short reports of the court proceedings.
Good. Also, do you know what? Before we start, I really do like that you're doing initials because I feel like this would have introduced a whole bunch of new names that would have introduced a whole bunch of new phonological issues for me. This is a wonderful way of introducing names without introducing phonological issues. Very good. Well played.
It also kind of makes diegetic sense to a degree.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Anyway, let's actually stop talking about the thing before we talk about the thing. Let's read the thing and then talk about the thing. Okay.
Let's get into it.
Go for it.
Proceedings of Special Mercantile Court, Mirsphere. According to rights ancient and perfect, and by contract with the city of Mirsphere, this Special Mercantile Court has convened to protect the liberty and trade of all Haveski. Matter of P.M. Orlab District. Accused of trafficking in Arthani goods to the detriment of Haveski trade. Court found accused guilty. Sentenced to corrective municipal labour. Matter of Y.C.R. Keoch District. Accused of anti-mercantile rhetoric. Multiple counts of agitationist rhetoric and actions. Court found accused guilty. Sentenced to corrective municipal labour. Matter of S.G. Keoch District. Accused of agitationist actions, vandalism and assault. Court found accused guilty. Sentenced to corrective municipal labour and restorative indentature. Matter of S.A. Outer Tower Ward. Accused of trafficking in Arthani goods, agitationist sympathies. Court found accused guilty. Sentenced to corrective municipal labour. Matter of G.M. Kitapi District. Accused of assault, anti-mercantile violence, agitationist actions. Court found accused guilty. Sentenced to restorative indentature. Matter of E.B., citizen of Vilv, accused of free trading. Court found accused guilty. Sentenced to seizure of property and proceeds of trade. Matter of Z.B., Abgat Tower Ward, accused of free trading. Court found accused not guilty. Matter of S.T., Napik Tower, accused of distributing agitationist literature, the pamphlet The Mutiny, mercantile theft, and sabotage. Court found accused guilty, sentenced to seizure of property and restorative indentature. Matter of multiple accused. Identities withheld. Rubble tendency of the Pecha district. Accused of public nuisance, vandalism, brawling. Court found case to be outside its remit. Case dismissed. Identities of the accused withheld. Proceedings of the Third Convention of the Special Mercantile Court, Mirsphere.
Okay, so hopefully everyone now can understand our issue with initials in full context there. But I think what we did is good, Bill. I think that's entirely fine.
Yeah.
A matter of palatalized P, M, Orlov district. Okay. I have very few questions here. I think, first of all, I think it's not hard to, if I may just launch in straight away.
Yeah.
I feel like it's not hard to see what the hidden message behind this document is, and that's the final bit where the rubble people who we know have kind of what's the word I'm looking for here? Been infiltrated by the company, or the company are using them.
Co-opted by.
Yeah. I think the fact that they were all found, their case was dismissed, and the court was like, oh, throw my hands up, can't possibly do anything here. That gives the indication that this is obviously a very corrupt court, and I suspect that all the people found guilty are probably just regular plain old groundsfolk, perhaps leaders of unions and things like that or whatever. I suspect that's what's going on. Surely I'm not a million miles off.
Pretty much, yeah. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Not only was the case dismissed, their identities were withheld as well. For further protection of them.
Yeah, that's the key part, because I suppose maybe if their identities weren't held or made public, you might be like, wait a minute, brother of this Tamari commander? Suspicious. Something like that. Yeah, for sure. Outside of that, I only have, and I'm not rushing through this purely because we spent an hour plus on flags, but purely I only have two more questions on this, and they are: can you talk to me about what a special mercantile court is, and could we talk about the punishments? So we'll start with the first. What is a special mercantile court in this context?
So this is a kind of a fairly new emergency measure that the city of Mirsphere is trying out to protect the order, protect the social order, and protect the companies. They have set up this sort of commission that is, contracted out to, it's nominally independent of the city and of the companies, but it's staffed by multiple company officials from various companies. So it has this kind of facade of neutrality that they can't favor one company over the other. But they are obviously trying to favor the system.
Sure.
They're working in favor of the existing system that benefits all of them. And it's to fight. It's kind of a new tool to fight against agitation and fight against the labor movement.
I'm assuming if it's very new, the efficiency of this, or how effective it is not. We don't know yet.
I guess, yeah, not established yet.
Yeah.
As it says at the bottom, this is only the third time they've met.
Yeah, and times 1 and 2 were probably just like taking minutes.
Probably doing something similar, like they had cases to look at as well.
Well, that was a joke. It's just the usual legal bull where it's like, what have we just achieved in the past number of hours here? Oh, we've decided that making a decision is within the remit of what we can do.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, great, cool.
We'll form a subcommittee to appoint an exploratory body into making a council to look at the issue.
Precisely. I regardless of what you said, my headcanon is that conventions 1 and 2 were literally that. Convention 1, what building should it be held in? And that's the entirety of Convention 1. Okay, so that's a special mercantile court. Very good. I'm assuming...
I mean, if you could ever believe that people would ever try and make, in a free market sort of system, and people that profess belief in the free market would ever try and outlaw boycotts or anything like that, hypothetically.
Oh, obviously, hypothetically. It never would occur in real life. I'm assuming this sort of court is a closed doors This is not a public court, probably no jury.
No, there's no jury.
Yeah.
I guess I haven't really figured out much exactly about Abeski judicial culture or jurisprudence or anything. But this one certainly has no jury.
No.
It's probably like a team of appointed bailiffs and judges who decide together.
Yeah.
I mean, like the special criminal court in Ireland, there's no jury.
That is exactly what I was going to say. I was only holding it back to be like, people won't know what the special criminal court is. But I mean, I guess you could do it. What?
Take it away. Oh, I thought you were about to explain it. Sorry.
Oh no. Because I don't know. I'm not comfortable enough explaining exactly what it is. I guess here comes Edgar trying to explain something he doesn't understand about. But as far as I'm aware, it is a special court that was formed to deal with like the IRA and things like that because of the sensitive nature of those crimes, I guess. And there's no jury, I think. It's all behind closed doors. It's all very covert's the wrong word to use, but the magnitude of what was going on, post the Troubles required a bit of a different judicial solution. I think that's what that is, but correct me if I'm wrong.
I think it was during the Troubles.
Oh, yeah. I don't know the exact time, but it's because of the Troubles that this has occurred. Yeah.
So it's 3 judges. And I think the judges sit anonymously. I'm not positive on that. And
no jury. Yeah. No jury, yeah. No cameras. No nothing. Why are we so sensible? Why couldn't we have 4? Just put in 4 judges. Come on. Everyone loves banter like that. Like the whole US system where it's like 538 representatives just to ensure that you can get ties because, of course. Just put in 4 juries, so much more banter. Or four judges, rather. So anyway, that's what Special Mercantile Court is. The other thing is, I'm intrigued to hear what these punishments are. I think corrective municipal labour seems... Well, I mean, in my head, jokingly, I was like, they're going to make this person take out the trash around the city for a little bit. But it sounds like community labour, but maybe it's something more horrific, given your tendencies. Care to elaborate?
Given how you love to make people in your world suffer,
you're
on the right track. Probably more like hard labor though, so that you're sentenced to do stuff around the city. So like work gangs,
building roads, infrastructure.
Exactly. Yeah. And let's be honest, they've probably got some kind of system where they lease out these prisoners to the companies.
Yeah, like if you imagine that there was like a fire in the city, and then you take a whole bunch of these people who are, imprisoned, who live at the leisure of the state, and then take all of these people and sorry. Okay, you folks, we are running off Zoom at the moment. I intend to edit off Zoom. I just got a text from my network provider because they keep harassing me. You might hear that text on screen, on air. I don't think I can remove this now because reasons. I'm sorry about that. Do not disturb has been switched back on. Anyhow, where was I? It's almost as if there was a fire in the city, and then you take an imprisoned population and use them to fight the fires, which almost certainly, definitely is totally not a form of modern slavery.
Hypothetically,
this would never happen. Obviously, in the beautiful Western world that we lived in. I was watching a Adam Neely video recently. This is relevant. Don't worry.
The ethics of guitar.
The ethics of stealing guitar stuff. And in it, he has this gag where he was like, "YouTuber mentions capitalism." And then and I was like, oh my God, it's me and Bill. Like we mentioned like, how crap our current society is. Tick. It's like a drinking game during this during this podcast. Okay, so that's corrective municipal labour. I'm more intrigued, to be honest with you, in restorative indentature. How's that functioning, and is the restorative part purely marketing?
Well, it's restorative in that you're indentitured. Indented? What's the right word there? I'm not sure.
You're indented, like a bullet point.
You are indentatured to whoever you have been found to have wronged.
Oh wow! So the companies just get more recruits through this.
Well, they own your labor for a while, yes, and it's restorative in that you are making up for the value that you lost them, or the damages
Wow.
that you caused to them.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool. And this
that's
value
why
is
it's called
obviously
restorative.
sure, sure. And this value is obviously not nebulous in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, accused of agitationist actions, vandalism, and assault. This is the matter of SG in the Keogh district,
Yes.
the third matter here.
Uh-huh.
And that's the first time we see restorative indentature. So this individual was probably like spreading union ideas and smashed up a shop and beat up a foreman. And so they have to replace that equipment, and they lost that day's trade, and they've to pay compensation to the foreman. And so you're going to have to work off that debt, and there's interest on the debt.
There is medical bills are high in this economy. That's pretty. Yeah, it's, obviously when the word indenture is used, it's awful regardless. But yeah, that's awful, and the a lot of abuse. It's open to a lot of abuse, obviously, because you can just be like, oh wait, like you trod on the grass, being hyperbolic here. This particular grass is an extremely rare breed of grass that takes 50 years to procure and grow properly. Looks like you're working for the Tamar company for 50 years. Like subtly horrific, which is great. In the matter of EB, citizen of Vilve, accused of free trading. Court found accused guilty, sentenced to seizure of property and proceeds of trade. Query the extent to what this means, seizure of property. Does this just mean the property that was acquired through their free trading, or are they coming and being all like, you did bad, I'm going to take your house, your, I was going to say car, but they don't exist, your skyship, and everything from you? What's the gamut there?
Yeah, so probably their business stock, and then if they had a warehouse, and if whatever craft they were trading from. So if they had a skycraft, then that's been now seized by somebody. Mm-hmm. Probably seized by the city and will be auctioned or something like that.
Sure. God, I love the way you said auction. They're auctioned. You got some like English stank on it. Auctioned.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Auctioned. I say apologize to me. So you should be. Anyhow, final thing. Matter of, I guess I had more than two questions. The matter of ZB, Abga Tower Ward, accused of free trading. Court found accused not guilty. Interesting, because the previous victim of this system was found guilty and had property seized and the proceeds of trade. What's with this ZB person? Or insider, what's the crack?
I imagine that they came to some kind of accommodation that they'd been trading in something that one of the companies felt it had a monopoly on in this area, and so behind closed doors they came to some kind of accommodation that they'll play ball, they'll get in with the system. They maybe paid some fines and accepted a job instead.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it from me. What is there anything I missed?
I have mercantile theft here as a crime.
You do. This is the matter of ST Napkip Tower.
I had imagined that was like the theft of stock. The way you can modify crimes by putting other things on them. So there's like assault, but there's aggravated assault,
sure,
etc.
Sure.
Or there's degrees of murder or whatever. So maybe in what they're suggesting here is that mercantile theft is theft that's specifically against a business's stock or stuff they need to operate.
Sure.
And that makes it a more serious crime in the eyes of the court
Than just regular plain old theft.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that term is made up by this commission, court, whatever.
I mean, it might already exist in Abeski legal concepts, but it's not a real one.
But maybe it's something like the what's that American legal doctrine thing? The Foreign Aliens Act or something. I can't remember, but it's like this bit of legalese that are stuck away in the American Constitution. I don't know, legal system. I have no idea, but it's become kind of like discussed of late because obviously with Trump and all of this deportation stuff, and kind of looking to use kind of fairly obscure legal doctrines to further their goals. Maybe there's something similar here in the mercantile theft. Like it's a thing, but this court comes along and be all like, well, wait a minute, let's really lean hard into this and weaponize it to create a kind of new legal standard. So this could be what's happening here. Yeah. Anything else?
There was something else that I thought that was sort of an illusion, but I cannot remember or see what it is right now.
Oh.
So the city of Mirsphere is divided up, but not like uniformly. There's districts and there's tower wards, and then there's just people who live in the towers as well, which I thought you might pick up on, or you might have something to say about.
To be honest with you, you'd think I would, given that this information is in bold. But no, I didn't. You're dead right. Yeah, we have Orlab district, but then we have Outer Tower ward, and then just citizen of Vilve. Yeah. There's stuff there I completely missed.
And then the second last one is just tower, not just the tower ward.
Tower.
Just lives in the tower.
Yeah.
Gosh, what was that third thing? I can't remember. I'm sure it'll come to me at some stage.
Yeah. Follow up for next time.
Yeah, but I think that's pretty much it.
Cool. I was going to say let's go into Green Room, but to be honest with you, this is so short and it's semi-related to this that we'll just do it here and then we can end the show.
Okay.
I just all of this reminded me of I was in court since the last time we recorded.
They finally caught up with you.
They did, yeah. They finally got me for all my dastardly crimes. I think it's since the last time we recorded. Or was it a time before and I just didn't top? I can't remember. But in any case, I just to make it clear for the listeners, I'm not in trouble. I have not done anything wrong. I have to go to court for boring adult reasons that you sometimes have to do. No one's hurt, no crimes have been committed, etc. But I'm also not discussing the exact details of what goes on because I don't think I can. Because no one's actually going to listen to this, but like I think it's probably unethical to discuss the details of an ongoing thing. But yes, I just want to say this story is fun, and me being in court is not a bad thing for anyone, really. That makes sense?
Sure.
I'm sure we can all dream up 100 ways in which you can be in court without actually there being anything wrong. Yeah, so anyway, I got the day in court there, and it was phenomenally unproductive, Bill. I was in there from 9 until 4, like all day just sitting in court, and at the end of the day we were told insufficient paperwork and we have to go back soon, which is just very infuriating. But court is great crack because court is open to the public, right? I strongly urge anyone, if you're just, I don't know, if you're anyway interested in the sort of minutiae of the legal system and the sort of arcane pomp and circumstance that goes with it, go to a courtroom and just, if you got an afternoon off or something, and just sit in the courtroom and listen to what goes on. It is banter, particularly when it's like not high stakes things, like someone is taking someone to small claims court because they want $1,000 because they bumped their car or whatever, like things like that where there's not life and death, there's nothing too serious. It's just absolute banter. You get people representing themselves, don't know what they're doing. Just
brilliant.
It is such great crack. But anyway, so I'm in court, and there was this trial going on, and all the low stakes people like myself, we had to just be seen in between the big serious trial. And so I was bored out of my mind sitting there for hours, and I went to my lawyer in American parlance and was like, can I just sit in here and can I just listen? Like, I'm assuming that's the thing I can do. It's better than just sitting here doing nothing. And he's like, yeah, it's really interesting actually, head on in.
Lawyer would say that.
A lawyer would. Well, no, I think it is actually interesting. A lot of things.
Oh, sure, but it's not the most reliable source to get that from.
Well, no. But his thing was like he was like, it is actually interesting. And his body language was very much like, I kind of wish I could be in there, like listening along, but I've work to do. But anyway, so I went to make a move in, and they were like, no, this is in camera. You can't come in. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. So in camera means there's a modicum of seriousness about the thing. It's not banter. So I was like, God, I'm so sorry. Went about my merry way. I was very kind of like I kind of ashamed that I went to kind of try and go in and things like that. So that was fine. I established that's a no-go area. You don't go in there. How delightful. Went in for my court session, and then the judge goes, okay, I need to review some things. We have a break from the case at 2:00. If you and your client, referring to my lawyer and I, could come back at 2, we'll discuss it. So that was fine. Went off, had lunch, came back, and at 2:00, like ordered by the judge, I and my solicitor reappeared in court, ready to be seen to. And we're sitting there, and then it suddenly dawns on me, as the judge begins to talk, that he begins talking about some of the in-camera trial stuff. And I'm like, I'm not supposed to be here. I can't be hearing this. And I looked around, and I was like, I'm the only non-in-camera person here. And then my lawyer's sitting a little bit away from me, and I'm like, but he hasn't motioned. And I'm sitting there, I'm beginning to sweat. I'm like, oh God, what's happening? And then eventually, after like, I don't know, 5 minutes, the judge looks up and goes, the gentleman in the blue suit, this is in camera, you're not supposed to be here. And then like kind of like I guess like a bold child have been caught, I just panic and I start profusely apologizing to the judge, and I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm backing up, like making for the door, not turning my back, because I'm like, can you turn your back on the judge? I don't know. And then I'm like, sorry, and like panic apologizing, and then the judge gives me a sort of look that very much implies, maybe shut up right now. I don't like, and I'm like, shit, maybe this is rules of library. I shouldn't be making noise. So then I apologize for the apologizing, and it just turns into like a whole like Curb Your Enthusiasm fiasco. And then on the way out, I walk into the door, which is great crack. Like just straight up turned and hit my face into the door as I was trying to leave, and then one final apology for smashing into the door as I left with my tail between my legs. And then like half an hour later, I had to reappear back in front of the judge, and effectively one of the questions we're answering was a thing like fit and proper persons thing. And I was like, I swear I'm a fit and proper person. I understand the debacle you just saw, but like, and I couldn't vocalize this to the judge, but I was like, I really wanted him to know that I'm just a very nervous person.
Please disregard all of the incompetence I have displayed thus far.
right, exactly. And it all went fine in the end. And my solicitor assured me that the things like this happen. It's not a big deal at all. And that judge and I, the solicitor, have seen an awful lot worse, like, aggro, people literally throwing stuff, shouting at them. So he's like, it's literally not a problem. But boy, was that funny. And I'm like, yeah, I guess it was kind of funny. So that was my funny story. I made an absolute arse out of myself in a courtroom while trying to come across as a competent adult at the same time.
Very good. I'm very glad that happened to you.
I'm very glad that so he's going to be, well, I think I'm due back in, hopefully it's sometime this week, so hopefully it's the same judge again, and I can be like, hi buddy. Remember me? I hit the door on my way out. Great.
If I didn't ask you, where do you get your robes?
Just go up to him and be like, listen, judge.
The drip is off the charts.
The drip, man, the judge drip is so funny. I had a talk with my solicitor about that as well. And I was like, do you think maybe we should drop all this nonsense? Like, why is he wearing a wig? What is the point? And then the solicitor was, he was very much kind of the sense like, we all know it's a bit of nonsense, but you can never forget how much of this pomp creates deference, and how important deference is in maintaining order, like which I'm not sure I fully buy that line of reasoning, but the idea the solicitor was saying was that if you present this person as being a high and mighty, powerful, otherworldly character with his wizard robes and his wig, you know, people have a tendency to behave in that sort of environment in a way that if he just showed up in a regular businessman suit, people would be like, he looks like my boss. I shout at my boss the whole time. I'm going to shout at this lad, do you know? Which I just think is so weird that we humans act like that. Surely the idea that, you know, if they're a judge, that's the important thing to know, and you act accordingly. You don't need a wig to make you act accordingly, but apparently people do. So that's why the drip is off the chain. Anyhow, that's my funny story. Blackbirds, owls, and face planting court doors. It's my life right now. Anything else to add, or should we wrap it up?
Let's wrap it there.
Cool. So, as always, folks, thanks for watching. Thanks for supporting us over on Patreon. Hi, live chat. How are y'all doing?
Sup, chat.
I really hope you enjoyed. And Bill and I, we're going to see you next month. So, until next time, Edgar out.